It's now time for Party Chat Sports.
The only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
We are 21 days away from the NFL draft as
21.
of this recording being put out. It's an exciting time, so we all had to get together to do one of our favorite things, a mock draft. This was one of our favorite episodes that we did last year. I think I can speak for at least most of us in this chat. We kind of talked about it before hopping on the other day, but we are back. The entire gang's here. And we've got a mock draft today, boys. Let's get it!
Dang.
All right.
Dang.
Let's go!
Excitement.
A lot of
All
energy
right.
there.
Apologies to
Headphone warning.
apologies to the headphone wearers that are just
No,
trying
no.
to.
Out with that.
Oh, no.
Oh man.
I
And we
scared
already
Mom.
lost. And we lost
scared-
Cam.
Oh,
There we
scared
go.
Bro go off.
There we go.
Okay, we're good.
There he
Good.
is.
That's
He's
too
coming
long.
back. He's
We're
coming
good.
back.
So if you recall from last year, we alternate picks. So Dylan will start, then I don't
Drew.
remember the other.
It's
Okay.
Drew,
Me?
then Gil,
Drew,
then Cam.
and we're just going to alternate in that order. There will be no trades in this mock draft. So this is going to be 1 through 32 as it stands today, April 3rd. And let's get right into this. Dylan, you are on the clock. Chicago Bears. What we
All
thinking?
right. Yeah, let's get it. Shout out to the Chicago Bears for giving me Justin Fields. That makes me happy. But the pick is in. Hold on.
It's nervous.
Here we go.
And to no surprise, the Chicago Bears are going to take Caleb Williams, number 1 overall. Pretty chalk
Boom.
there. I don't think I got to say much about it. He's the number 1 quarterback in this class. He has his question marks. You know, is he going to pan out? Is he going to be a bust? It remains to be seen. You know, I think every quarterback has a chance to pan out. It depends on the system they go into and the supporting cast that they have. So, supporting cast isn't going to be all that bad. We'll see what the Bears can do with their second first-round quarterback in, 4 years? 3 years?
Something like that, yeah.
See what they can do with it. But he's the pick at number 1.
I don't think you really have to touch much on that pick. It seems obvious and locked in. So
Yeah, that's written in stone at this point.
Yeah, I think the draft starts here at the number 2 spot with Drew on the clock.
yeah, go ahead and cue me up here.
All right, yeah. Let me key you up. Oh,
All right. With the second overall pick, the Washington Commanders select Drake May,
there it is.
quarterback, North Carolina.
Vikings
think,
fans. No.
I think
Tough for Vikings fans.
It is tough. And let me cut to the chase. I think that the Jaden Daniels hype at number 2 is going to look like the Will Levis, top 4, the Malik Willis top 6 or top 9, whatever it was that year. I really don't see it. I mean, he won the Heisman. Yeah, great. He's not number 2 pick overall talent. He's not. He doesn't have the best arm. He doesn't have the best athleticism. He doesn't have the best build. I'm pretty sure he's pretty old for a rookie quarterback. I don't see the hype there. I think that's all a big smoke screen.
He is 21. He's going to be 22. Just for
At the beginning of the season, it was Caleb Williams and it was Drake
I'm saying
May.
23.
And
For Jane Daniels?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I looked at Drake May. My bad.
Drake May's okay. Drake May's younger. Yeah. So at the beginning of the year, it was Caleb Williams, it was Drake May as the top two kind of guys. Drake May didn't have the best season that kind of people were expecting him to have, so he didn't really launch himself into a, quarterback battle with Caleb Williams as many were expecting. But I still think he's the second best prospect. And I think it's a lot better chance. You're taking a better chance on Drake May than you are Jaden Daniels. I think the ceiling is higher. I in my last mock draft personally that we didn't post it anywhere, but I didn't even have Jaden Daniels in the first round. It happens like that every year. People hype up quarterbacks, especially to go super high in the draft, and then you see him fall, like Will Levis, like Malik Willis, and even quarterbacks like Lamar Jackson, who won the Heisman and looked dominant in college and still fell all the way to the end of the first round. So Jaden Daniels won the Heisman, but I wouldn't say he was ever dominant, and he doesn't have the traits like even Lamar Jackson had, or any of these other quarterbacks. So going Drake May, not Jaden Daniels.
They try to make him sound like Lamar Jackson, but I think you're right. Drake May is number 2 quarterback in the class. I think a lot of teams would love for the chance to take Drake May. Those teams being like the Vikings that I'm sure we'll talk about, like a team like the Broncos, like these different teams would love to go up and get Drake May. But the thing is, if the Commanders want Drake May at number 2, they're not trading down. They're going to take him. When the season ended, Drake May was the second best quarterback. Was even talks of the number 1 quarterback. It was when the season ended, that's where we were at. And then now all of a sudden, no games have been played, but Jaden Daniels is this number 2 quarterback. Now I think it's just typical off-season smoke and mirror stuff. These teams know what they're looking for, and I think Commanders have had their eye on Drake May for months now.
Yeah, and I like the one thing that you said about Will Levis last year, because Drake May, it reminds me of C.J. Stroud, where everybody is trying to find a reason why he's not the second best quarterback in this class. Like last year, C.J. Stroud.
He was the best last year.
Yeah,
but
there was a lot of smoke and mirrors on, is Will Levis better? Is Anthony Richardson better? Is he even going to go top 10? And there was a lot of that talk, and it got progressively more and more as we got closer to the draft. And then come draft day, it's like, all right, he's the second best quarterback. Why are we overthinking this? Drake May, he didn't have the year everybody was expecting, but look at the situation around him. There was not a lot of great pieces around him to have a great year. Where a Jaden Daniels had 2 first-round talent or 2 first-round receivers. So the situations are completely
That's crazy to say
different.
2 first-round receivers.
they do, though.
They do.
Brian Thomas is a first-round wide receiver.
He might go top 15. I'm not even joking. He might go top 15.
PFF has him as the 23rd. His average draft position is 23, and his PFF rank is 28. So he is a first-round wide receiver for sure.
He's going first round. And the Malik Neighbors, there's a lot of people that are putting him in the Marvin Harrison boat. I don't know if I would go that far. Still,
it's a lot of DK and AJ Brown comparisons, two just dudes. But nonetheless,
Commanders will be dumb if they pass on Drake. So
I think that puts you on the clock, though, Gil. Patriots at number 3.
It does, and
you need me to cue you up? You let me know. Okay.
So a lot of we guys had talked about smoke and mirrors. Don't see Jaden Daniels. I think we're going to see 4 quarterbacks drafted in the top 5 because there is a need for quarterbacks. Even those years where when Malik Willis is he going to be a first round quarterback? There wasn't as much of a need for quarterback that year. And we saw that with only 1 quarterback being drafted in the first round. That was Kenny Pickett. Last year, the Malik Willis there was talk, but there was still 3 quarterbacks taken in the top 5 last year with Anthony Richardson and also Bryce Young. So I think we see 4. The Patriots need to start fresh. And we've had this conversation on and off in our group chat. Do you start building a team by taking the quarterback and then build around him? Or do you build the team up and then put the quarterback and thrust them in there? And I'm a believer in taking the quarterback and then building the system around the quarterback. So I think the Patriots go quarterback. And this isn't necessarily what I would do. It's what I think the Patriots are going to do, so cue me up. And the Patriots are going Jaden Daniels out of LSU. I don't think that's a smart thing. I just think that's what they're going to end up doing. I think they're going to buy themselves into the hype. They're going to try convincing themselves that he is the next Lamar Jackson if you put some meat on him, but he's not nearly as athletic. He did have a good year. And what the Patriots lack is playmakers. You draft Jaden Daniels to be a playmaker, though, like at the quarterback position. So you're hoping to get that playmaking ability. And you have Jacoby Brissett there, so you don't need Jaden Daniels to start immediately if you're the Patriots. And everybody here knows I'm a big believer in sitting rookie quarterbacks year one. This is New England's a good spot to sit a quarterback year one because you have Jacoby Brissett at the top of the depth chart. So with the new head coach and Gerard Mayo, new things are changing. They're going away from the old school Patriots way. They're trying to become a 2024 NFL football team, and that's going to start with them drafting Jaden Daniels at number 3.
I think that's likely. It's not what I would do.
It's not what they should do.
I'm not in charge of the Patriots, unfortunately.
I personally would not pass up on the generational wide receiver, but that's just me.
That's where I would go, especially with Brissett at quarterback. Like
Brissett is good.
He's very good. He can take you a year. The problem is he's too good to where you're not going to have a number 3 pick next year, I would imagine.
Exactly.
Probably not.
But you can make it till next year, make something work to jump up if possible, and then have that quarterback have Marvin Harrison Jr. on the team.
Yeah, but you don't know what those quarterbacks
you got to think, is Jaden Daniels.
That's true.
You got to think, is Jaden Daniels without Marvin Harrison better than a Carson Beck or a Quinn Ewers? Or a Sanders with Marvin Harrison.
So a lot of times quarterback classes get very hyped heading into the next. Like there's a lot of next year's quarterback class is going to be another good class. From what I've been hearing, there are low on next year's quarterback class. Like the Carson Beck hype is not really there. Where
I think it will be.
He's going to have a good year. Maybe, but I think we're going to see. So a lot of times when we get these big quarterback classes, so 2018 was a bigger quarterback class. The next year, 2019, not nearly as big. 21 was a big quarterback class. A lot of quarterbacks taken the first round. 2022, you saw only Kenny Pickett. So there's a lot of that. And I think next year's just going to be another one of those years where, that's kind of the cycle that we go through.
I think you forget Quinn Ewers is in that draft class. I think he's going to be very underrated.
He might be, but you can't bank on that. If you think you have a quarterback this year in Jaden Daniels, or if you think any of these guys can be a guy, you have to take him. I think it's irresponsible to not take a guy that you think could turn your franchise around.
Yeah, I think Quinn Ewers is one of your top 2 picks. It's going to be Quinn Ewers. Carson Beck is going to be up there if he has a good season with Georgia, and there's going to be some other 1-year wonders. There's always 1-year wonder quarterbacks that look good as well.
Are you pushing an agenda at the moment?
No,
he's definitely pushing it. He's been pushing it.
I think he is pushing it. Honestly, it's just a little bit.
I'll go on the record and say I think Carson Beck is going to be a good NFL draft prospect. He's 6'4" or 6'5", and he's got a really good arm. I mean, that's going to be something teams look for. I don't know how good he's going to play this year. He's losing some weapons, but he's on a roster that should make him look good. That he's going to get a little bit of the Jaden Daniels treatment because he's going to have a great defense and decent weapons on offense. So he's going to have good numbers. So whatever. I'm not trying to push anything.
Let's get back to this year.
Let's get back to this.
Yeah, sorry. Good stuff. I think that's enough on the quarterbacks, though. Let's get to Cam on the board with the Arizona Cardinals. Let me know when you need me to cue you up.
I really think this is going to be a no-brainer for them. If they choose to keep this draft pick, I have not heard one lick of information other than some false rumor about him being traded to the Vikings and Kyler Murray. Dylan, go ahead.
Oh.
It's pretty obvious. Give him a weapon. I'm with the 4th draft pick of the 2024 NFL draft. the Arizona Cardinals are going to select Marvin Harrison Jr.
Good pick.
I really
Boom.
think this franchise is known and really was built on Larry Fitz. If you look, I'm going to give Marv the Larry Fitz comp here, strictly because size, charisma, and leader, and honestly, just being a good person. Like, Marv is a down to earth, kind soul, and you can see how much of a leader and how much of an impact he had on that Ohio State team, and how much he carried them last year. He made Kyle McCord look like a decent player. So it's pretty obvious. Go Marv here. Get your generational superstar wide receiver.
I like
Good
the
pick.
Larry Fitz. I think the Cardinals would love to have another Larry Fitzgerald.
Because who do they have at wide receiver right now? Because they just
No one.
traded nobody, right? Like
Marquise
he's going to
Brown
come
was a
in
free
and
agent, and he signed with the Chiefs.
yeah.
And they traded away what's his face out from Purdue,
Rondale
Moore.
Rondale Moore.
So they don't have anyone. Their best pass catcher is Trey McBride, the tight end that kind of came on there last season.
Yeah.
So
They probably
everyone-
are so happy that Marv drops to them at 4. Like they're blessed if the board falls this way. They got to
Yeah.
feel so good.
and
Yes.
everyone here wants Marvin Harrison, and obviously there's a lot of rumors of trading with another team. I think if someone picks up the phone and asks the Cardinals for that spot, I find it
Take
hard to believe that they're not going to go back. It depends though, because
How far
if
back?
I'm running the Cardinals, I'm getting the call from the Vikings. Sorry, Cam. As soon as the Vikings talk to me, I'm calling the Giants. I'm saying, "Hey, Giants, Vikings want to come up. How about you come up? That way, Giants come up to 4, and you only drop back to 6. That way, you get either probably neighbors at that point. Instead of, if you take the Vikings pick, now you're back at 11. Now you don't get Marvin Harrison. Now you don't get neighbors, and you're probably not getting Odunze. You might get Odunze, but probably not. And so it just all depends on the package. It all depends on who's moving up, how many picks are coming with it. Cam, I know you mentioned the Kyler Murray to the Vikings trade that's been flying around by that bum. I forget what Tannenbaum or whatever his name is. That's ridiculous. That's not happening. But I think most Cardinals fans will tell you that they want to stay at 4 and take Marvin Harrison. I heard a few crazy takes when Marvin decided to sit out of the combine and then sit out of his pro day. Some people are like, "Oh, I don't want him anymore."
Why?
All this, and it's like
Jamar
it's not
Chase
good.
literally sat out an entire year. Like, it's
Yeah.
okay.
People are weird like that, but I think Marv should be the pick. Probably will be the pick, and that's what the Cardinals fans want. So
I think the video that you sent us, Drew, of the general manager like working the phones, trading back and trading up, that being put out in the last day or so, has also spurned a lot of Cardinals might trade the pick. Maybe a little bit. That activity or that mindset has definitely started to make things a little bit more likely, it seems like. And a lot of times those videos get put out where it may not come directly from the Cardinals account, but stuff like that gets leaked, or it's like, hey, push this out. We just kind of want to test waters, or a lot of times those get put out for certain reasons.
yeah, that was a very interesting video, though.
I love watching
kinda-
those. I love watching those.
So
If
you never know.
you
Every
don't know what
year
we're
we do
talking
the same
about, go
thing.
check it out.
Yeah, go check Monty Ossenfort is his name. He was a video from the war room of the Cardinals last year when they traded down and then traded back up to get Paris Johnson. So it was pretty cool to see.
It's
But
crazy. They have 10 minutes for a pick, and all that has to get. I mean, they have round work and whatever, but like seeing the clock or the gears turning in those 10 minutes is just wild.
Yeah, the conversations
cut
were
you off.
quick. It's like, how do you even have that understanding of it? You're like,
Right.
this,
I think- well-
no, good, no, okay,
Yep.
no, yeah, no, oh, Okay.
It's literally
Yeah.
crap from Moneyball, where they're just like calling 4 teams at once and just craziness is happening.
But I was just gonna leave it off with, talking about the Cardinals trading. Every year we go through these drafts, and obviously we can't do any trades in this draft, but there definitely will be some. And it's likely that the trades that happen are ones that we didn't even think about. So,
Probably.
that's why the draft is great. There's a lot of stuff that happens that either players go at different spots or trades happen to different teams, and you never even saw it coming. So,
I mean, all the
exciting
draft day
time.
stories, like Laramie Tunsil and his gas mask getting put out on draft day. AJ
That
Brown
was
getting
funny.
traded to the Eagles in the middle of the draft.
Boo.
Like, there's a lot of, like Drew was just saying, there's things that you just you can't predict. But
All right.
can we predict
Yeah.
the 5th overall pick for the Chargers?
I think
I'm
we
gonna
can.
try. I'm gonna try. That puts me back on the board, and so I don't. I think we're gonna be done with the music now. It takes too long. At number 5, there's a couple of needs, and PFF is saying running back, wide receiver, tight end as the top 3. Clearly, the Chargers need to give Jay Herbo some weapons. No running backs getting picked at number 5 right now, so that puts you between wide receiver and tight end. And you're looking at the board, and a popular pick is Brock Bowers here at number 5 to the Chargers. Would obviously be a very strong weapon. Jim Harbaugh would go crazy with him. But there's something to be said about like tight end value, and it's kind of closer to a realm of running back. And there starts to be different conversations. Things get crazy, and I'm sure people have their own opinion on the tight end spot. So I'm going to go a different direction here. And at number 5, I'm going to take Malik Neighbors, specifically because their wide receiver room is looking bare. It's Quentin Johnston, Josh Palmer, and nobody else. In the tight end room, they still have Parham, I think. They don't have Everett anymore. But, Parham's fine. Brock Bowers would come in and he'd be a weapon for them. But I just think if you're looking at Neighbors here, who has the ability to be a prime number 1 wide receiver, you're taking that over Bowers, even though Bowers could have a Travis Kelce-esque receiving ability. Not saying he's going to be. That's just, kind of his projection there. So Malik Neighbors, wide receiver at number 5, I think that fills a need, and I think it fills it pretty well given the talent that Neighbors would bring to the table.
That's what they should do, but I'm worried that the staff and the philosophy that Harbaugh is bringing, where it's ground and pound mentality, that they're going to go offensive line. That's my one concern for the Chargers, is that they're going to...
This could also be a prime... Sorry to cut you off. This could also be a prime trade down.
Yeah. My prediction straight up for trades is I think Jim Harbaugh trades his pick to somebody that drafts his Michigan quarterback, J.J. McCarthy. I think J.J. McCarthy goes at 5, and it's going to be a hell of a story because Harbaugh traded away the pick to allow McCarthy to be drafted. Like, there's just... Yeah. I genuinely think that's what's going to happen there at 5. But if the Chargers stay there, I'm scared that they're going to go offensive line just because Harbaugh loves building through the trenches.
I think Neighbors is probably the pick if Marvin is gone. If the Cardinals trade back and can't get in front of the Chargers again somehow, obviously the only way they could get back in front of the Chargers would be to come to 5. So if the Cardinals trade back and Marvin is there, they probably go with Marvin. If not, Neighbors is the pick. That's what they should do. If they pick Alt, maybe it's not the best pick with Neighbors still being on the board, but it's not the worst pick. I mean, drafting a tackle.
They're saying this is a very deep wide receiver class too. Like, they could
It's deep at tackle too, though.
It is, but they could go like Joe Alt, and then round 2 or 3 get Harbaugh's guy Roman Wilson, something like that. Like, that's a
could do that, or you could flip it around and go Neighbors now, and then maybe the Arizona tackle, Jordan Morgan, I think his name is usually sitting there around the end of the first, beginning of the second. So there's different ways to go. I think Neighbors one and then find another tackle in the second is probably the best course.
That's the best course. I agree.
But you make a good point. Is that Jim Harbaugh's style? I guess we'll have to see.
Cam,
I
what
think
do you
that puts
think?
me
I
back on
had
the
to bounce
clock.
out there for
No,
a
you're
second. Sorry.
That puts me on the clock with the Giants. And I mentioned earlier, maybe they trade up for a quarterback. J.J. McCarthy's still on the board. Penix and what's his face out of Oregon, Bo Nix, still on the board. Those two have Penix kind of revived his hype a little bit, but Bo Nix, I think, kind of fell all the way out of the first round. I've seen a lot of things about the Giants where, they don't want to have Daniel Jones, but he's costing them so much money that they might just have to toughen up for one more year. Hope he can stay healthy and just kind of get through the year and go into next year looking for a quarterback.
They have Drew Lock.
What?
They have Drew Lock.
Yeah, but Drew Lock and Daniel Jones is a meme quarterback class.
True.
I don't know if I want to go JJ here. I think I'm saving that nice and special for a pick later. Although they might. Cam, I will say that your saving grace will be if the Giants decide they want JJ either at 6 or if they move up to go get him at 4.
Or if the
maybe even
Broncos
5.
move up. The Broncos might move up too.
Yeah, if someone gets them, but I think it's probably maybe the Giants or the Broncos if it's not the Vikings. So I'm not going to go JJ here. The Giants have terrible wide receivers, and so we're going on a crazy wide receiver run here, and we're going to go Rome Odunze.
I can see it.
A lot of people like Odunze. He doesn't have like the speed of Neighbors or the all around talent and hype that Marvin Harrison has, the generational hype, and a lot of that is tied to the name a little bit. But Odunze was a great wide receiver. And one of the things I saw the other day was there was you guys probably saw it too, but there was some sort of grade for each route type on a tree. And he was the only one that has all green. They were all good, every single different route type. So I think the hype is there for him. Like I said, the Giants have terrible wide receivers. Who'd they just let go this season? He's been with them for a while. Slayton, I think.
Slayton, I think Slayton was just let go.
So Slayton's gone. So they really don't have anyone. They have Wan'Dale Robinson that they drafted in the second round a couple years ago.
Jalen Hyatt, the Blitnikoff winner.
Jalen Hyatt, fraud Blitnikoff winner. I think Rome Odunze is going to be the pick for him. I think that kind of is like, hey, maybe Daniel Jones will finally be good with Rome Odunze. If not, then your quarterback next year will have a good wide receiver either way. So that's the pick for the Giants. I hope it's the wrong pick. I hope the Giants, the Commanders, and the Eagles all make terrible picks. But if I was running the team and I cared that they were going to be good, I would pick Odunze. So
Good
I think
good pick.
the Giants are really praying that a team moves up for a quarterback because I think they really want Malik Neighbors, but Odunze would be the next bet there.
Yeah.
I think that puts me on the spot, doesn't it?
It does. Titans.
And I think the Titans are real losers here. You look at these, the last 3 picks have been wide receivers. The new head coach, Callahan, said that he wanted to come in and he wanted to add speed to the team while the top 3 receivers are gone. However, they have one of the best offensive line coaches and a need at offensive line. Bill Callahan's there, and if you're an offensive lineman, there's really nobody better to coach you up and help make you an all-pro. So the Titans, I think, with this pick, would go the best offensive lineman in the draft, Joe Alt. He's going to be your left tackle. He's going to be your cornerstone there. And he's just going to hold it down, give Will Levis a chance in the pocket, and then you try getting your weapons later on. But Joe Alt, best offensive lineman in the draft. That's where the first one goes here. with the 7th overall pick to the Titans.
I've seen a lot of people that actually say the Titans love Joe Alt and that they might be happy that the Giants pass up on him. So
it's possible.
Yes.
That's what I've seen.
I think they would.
That's gonna depend on if they're willing to give up on Neal this early, I believe.
Yeah, because they got Neal, Evan Neal, or that Neal on the one side, and then
Evan
Thomas
Neal.
on the other. Still, so
And Evan
Yeah, they're
Evan
still very
Neal
young.
is a liability, unfortunately.
There's-
Unfortunately
Terrible.
for him,
Hates the fans.
didn't they pick him early too in the draft?
they
Yep.
did, and to be fair, they didn't reach. He was
good.
projected
Good.
high.
He was
He
considered.
was-
I think he was
yeah.
considered like the best offensive
Yeah.
tackle, or he was the top. He was one
He
of the
was,
better
he was
in that class.
yeah, he was one of the top prospects. There was like 2 or 3 guys that were like, which one of these is the best? Some people said Neal. They took him.
'Cause
For
he was
whatever
with
reason,
that,
it just
like-
didn't pan out. So
He was with that NC State guy that went to like the Panthers or something, right?
Yep.
yeah,
forget
I
his
think
name.
so.
Ikiawanu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're right.
Ikiawanu.
So I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants took a tackle because I think they do have to have some sort of solution there. But if
They're
they
going
don't,
offense. They have to go
the
off.
Titans got to jump on that because the Titans' offensive line is terrible.
Yeah. They need to protect Will Levis so he doesn't break his ankle again.
All right, Cam, you're back on the clock with the Falcons.
All right,
He gets
I'm
to
being
pick for Kirk
serious.
Cousins. He gets to pick
I'm
for Kirk
being
Cousins.
serious with this.
He's
All right,
giving him a weapon.
Falcons fans, listen. You're gonna love Kirk, but he's gonna have his moments with his checkdowns, and it's gonna be like 3rd and 13, and he's gonna throw a slip screen or dump it off to the tight end, and it's going to give the other team very good field position. So you know what you're really gonna need? You're gonna need a generational punter, and you know what? Perfect year for it. With the 8th pick in the draft, the Falcons are selecting
I'm not
Troy Taylor
selecting
out of
I'm
Iowa.
not selecting a punter.
Actual generational talent.
He
This
said,
dude has a
he
massive
said-
boat.
He said, "Let me be serious."
Listen, you draft him and you lock him up for the next 20 years.
no,
And
I'm
I
not doing
promise you,
He's
you're
not
getting
even the
you're
top punter. He's not even the top punter.
315.
Yes, he's not the top punter.
No.
He's one of the
All
only
the-
punters that got invited to the combine.
He's behind
Cam
Austin McNamara.
Little or Ryan Reckcow's got the ADP of 99 down there. All right, who are the Falcons
Oh
actually
yeah,
taking?
look at that
Cam?
one.
Who are the Falcons actually taking?
I'm being serious.
You're
gonna need
not
a good
going
punter.
with the Falcons.
Who are
You're
the
gonna
Falcons
need a good.
actually
You're gonna
taking?
need a good punter if you're
Who
gonna.
are the
for real,
Falcons
be for
actually
real, be
taking?
for real. They can draft him in the 5th if you really want.
Gil, who did you take at 5? Again?
Joe Alt. Or I'm
Alright,
sorry,
I think-
at 5.
Was it Neighbors?
Neighbors
Oh.
was at 5 to the Chargers. I picked them. Yeah.
All the defensive
Probably gonna
players
go
are
Dallas
available.
Turner. Probably gonna go Dallas Turner.
That's not bad. It's not bad.
Beefing up that defense a little bit. You know, I mean, you already got a good solid core. You got a guy out of Penn State from last year.
They
Can't
do
remember his
need
name, starts with
D-line
an E.
in general.
I do believe they still have Grady Allen. You got a good set of corners. I mean, a little good set of safeties with Jesse Bates being added last year. So you beefing up that defense. Kirk will probably lead you to the promised land for winning that division, and that's it.
So one thing to keep in
Good
mind
pick, Cam. Good pick.
for
Still think
everybody
Troy
that
Taylor's
makes their
better.
mock drafts, one thing to keep in mind, because the first 7 picks were offense, there has never been an NFL draft where a defensive player fell out of the top 10. So a defensive player is bound to be drafted in the top 10, and the Falcons here definitely make sense to be that team to draft a defensive player first.
Because their wide receiver, their offense is pretty good. The offensive line is pretty good. Running back, obviously, wide receiver, they're pretty set. Tight end, obviously, quarterback. So, if there was ever a team to be, penciled in as definitely taking a defensive player, it would be the Falcons.
If they don't trade out.
If they don't, that's a good point, because
If they
maybe a
don't
team
trade
wants
out.
to jump in front of the Bears for a weapon or something like that. Speaking of the Bears,
Yeah, that puts me on the clock. I have no idea what to do with the Bears right now because they're probably looking at how this board broke and they're heartbroken that one of those that like Odunze isn't there. That they're probably hoping that he falls to get another weapon to throw to. With that being said, my mind kind of goes to, the third need on their list is D-line, but I've seen a lot of edge rushers to the Bears. I don't know off the top of my head who their edge rushers are. I don't think they have Robert Quinn anymore.
Montez
So Montez,
Montez
okay.
Sweat.
So that, when you can't name a team's edge rushers, it's probably a good idea to draft them. So with Dallas Turner off the board for the Bears, I'm going to go Latu. Edge out of UCLA, who a lot of people have as the number one edge over Dallas Turner. So that's the pick. I don't have much to add to that other than it's always good to have good edge rushers on defense because that's always it's always going to help getting after the quarterback.
I think the only downside with him is Latu is that he was
Is he
medically
small?
retired from Oregon, I believe, and then he got second opinions from other schools and other medical places that said you should be good. You should be good. So, well, I don't know how that kind of looks for
Easy.
NFL teams where
Hey.
one doctor says, "Hey, you should probably stop playing football," and another one says, "No, you're good." So
It's all right. Edge came back to the WWE. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
So
he's still wrestling.
have your doctors ready for him. But I think that'll probably scare some people away. But with the draft going the way that it's gone, you could see that. I know a lot of people like Jared Verse as well. But good pick.
So if you
reminds me of Thibodeau.
If you don't
Which
mind
one?
me asking, what
Verse.
made you lean more defensive side instead of offensive line?
I mean, it's a good question. I just think honestly, if the board breaks like this, Bears probably trade down. And maybe it's someone coming up for JJ McCarthy right there. I think that's a completely in the realm possibility. But, looking at these tackles, they could very well take one of those too, because there's a lot of good tackles on the board. It just my first instinct said edge, but I could totally see them trying to beef up, a tackle spot to get your corners, your franchise quarterback and a franchise tackle. Probably is not a bad idea either.
No. I was just wondering because I've seen a lot of people kind of go, do the Bears go defense here? Do they go offensive line? So it's just kind of picking your brain a little bit.
I don't know off the top of my head what their O-line looks like. And
I think it's meh best.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as you
Tom
would
says
think.
it's not very good. Tom
I
is
think
not a
Bears
fan of
fans, so what I've noticed, because I talked to another Bears fan as well, Bears fans hate it, but the media and casuals kind of, maybe not casuals, but more football observers don't hate the Bears offensive line nearly as much as the Bears fans do.
Justin
that
Fields
means-
may have made them look worse than they actually are with holding on to the football.
Yeah, that's definitely possible.
So something that Caleb Williams will probably also do, but that's okay.
Yep. All right, Drew.
All right. Is this our first?
It's
It
our
is.
first team.
First team,
It is.
first
We got them back to
member,
back here.
first member team pick, and I think this one's going to be pretty easy for me. I believe I did the same thing in the mock that I shared with you guys previously. What do the Jets need? Jets are, you address some offensive line holes in the offseason, even though it didn't happen quite as quickly as you wanted there, Gil. You stole my guy. I'm still very sad about it. I don't know that I'll ever get over it. Tyron Smith should have retired a Cowboy.
Should have.
I'm always going to hate the Joneses for that. There's certain players you can't just you can't let leave. He's one of them. Anyways,
Move on. Not a Cowboys.
I don't think you're going tackle here. I think you are going offense, and you're going Brock Bowers.
Weapon.
Give yourself a weapon. There's not a wide receiver you want to take there. Your tight ends are okay.
Yeah, they're fine.
okay to bad. Nothing special.
I think you're real happy with that.
Get yourself Bowers. Get Aaron Rodgers another piece. Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. Your defense is already solid. You lost Huff, but you got Reddick. You had one of the best defenses in the league last year. So
I know Salah's chomping at the bit to draft another edge, and if he does, I
sure.
might throw something through a TV.
I'm sure.
I think the other kind of way to look at this too, though, is it provides a weapon for the team in a win now mode, but now inevitably this Jets 2025 quarterback is a question mark, and now you're going to give him a security blanket that's going to be a year into the league and pretty comfortable at that point to give to that new quarterback, whatever it ends up looking like, which is another positive.
Yeah, so there's a couple trains of thought here. Offensive line, a lot of people still think Jets are going to go offensive line just because the offensive linemen that they've acquired are a little bit older, a little bit more injury prone, and Aaron Rodgers is coming off of an Achilles injury. And the turnstile, the number of offensive line rotations that they had last year would give the team worry. And just Joe Douglas in general likes drafting offensive linemen in the first round. Well, Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh are big on the trenches, so I would not be surprised if they go offensive line here, but I want them to go weapon. There's a lot of fans that want Rome Odunze here if he falls. He did not fall in this mock, and even if he did, Brock Bowers is my favorite player in this draft because he's not just a tight end. Like a lot of people put that tight end term right there, and it's a little ugly, and it's like, why are you putting it? Why are you spending a top 10 pick on him?
His position is weapon.
Exactly. He is a weapon. You can line him. If you want to put him in a 3-point stance, you can. If you want to line him up as an X, a Y, a Z, it doesn't matter where you line him up. He's going to have success. If Bowers is drafted by the Jets, I'm going to be so brocked up. It is going to be amazing. I'm going to love it.
Brocked up?
I did. Nice. I want Brock Bowers so bad. And if he's a pick,
Trademarked.
I'm gonna love it. Brocked up for Bowers, baby.
All right,
I like it.
Gil, that puts you on the clock with the Vikings. What are you gonna do here?
There's only one logical answer with some guy on the board. There's one logical answer, and I swear if you do not do it, I'm gonna be so upset. And it's not McCarthy.
You're gonna be able to voice your opinion.
It's not McCarthy. It's
not
McCarthy.
I'll get it ready for you here.
Last time I checked, this was my pick to make. This was my pick to make.
Here's one thing I'll just throw out there before this pick is made. Normally, head coaches and GMs, when they want to pick a guy, they go to their pro day and they do a lot of homework. But the Vikings were actually absent from the Michigan pro day. Just something I was looking into. Do with that information what you will.
Didn't they have him for a private workout, though?
I don't know.
They had a dinner. Like they did with everybody. They went to Phoenix's pro day, I'm pretty sure.
Phoenix.
Phoenix is fun here.
Yes. Probably good on this.
Vikings had private workout with J.J. McCarthy, reportedly to have private workout with J.J. McCarthy. So
that's a little bit better than a pro day. So
yeah. Look, it's going to happen. It's inevitable, right?
It's not going to happen.
It's all right. The last time we called something inevitable on this channel, it did not happen.
This is true.
So
I'm not going to call it inevitable. I'm not going to call it inevitable.
You already did.
It's likely.
It's very likely.
Just
it
say
just
it.
seems to make
Break
sense.
the news.
It's going to be J.J. McCarthy, quarterback out of Michigan.
I should have queued that one up with the music.
I should have. I thought about having to queue it up, but it just, seemed to be a little bit too much. The Vikings need a quarterback. The people that are buying into Sam Darnold hype right now, like, you're buying into crappy stock. He's not... The one thing I love seeing is watch Sam Darnold have a Baker Mayfield type year. To have a Baker Mayfield type year, you had to have been Baker Mayfield in the past. Like, let's not forget, Baker Mayfield was a good quarterback at one point with the Browns. Sam Darnold has never been a good quarterback in his career. He's been moved to a couple different teams for a couple different reasons, and he is a backup. He can win you some games here and there, but do not buy into him as a starter. And the Vikings need a starting quarterback. And if for some reason they decide not to package up their 2 first-round picks that they have to move up to take a quarterback, you take one here at 11, and then you still have ammunition to draft another player later in the first round. But J.J. McCarthy is being viewed as one of the best quarterbacks in this draft. His hype is getting way too high. Like, I saw him, we were talking about Jaden Daniels earlier. I saw him as, do the Commanders go take J.J. McCarthy?
Didn't someone at NFL Network have that in their mock? They had JJ at number 2.
They did.
Yeah, that's craziness. But
bonkers. I'm not a big J.J. McCarthy fan. I think he was carried by a good Michigan team.
So why are you selecting him at 11?
Because he's a need.
Because
I think he's talented. I think he's talented.
He's fine.
I'm going to jump in here.
He's
got an arm, okay? He's got an arm. Go ahead, Gil. Finish your thought.
The one last thing, the Vikings are a good spot for any rookie quarterback to go to. I'm going to give you that. Because...
Not him.
Yes, Sam Darnold's there. I just trash on Sam Darnold. But Sam Darnold, you can sit behind him for a minute. And you have weapons like Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. And I think J.J. McCarthy is a quarterback that's going to have to sit. He's going to have to learn. And he does come from a pro-style offense. So it's going to take him a little bit to get acclimated to the pro league. So I think it just makes too much sense whether you want to believe it or not, Cam. J.J. McCarthy to the Vikings makes too much sense.
He's a perfect sit for a one-year candidate as well because he's young.
It was fantastic being a Minnesota Vikings fan.
Anyway, what's your thoughts on this, Cam? Who was the perfect guy in this spot, do you think?
Penix.
Interesting.
I'll be honest. I like Penix as like.
Weren't you
not
hating on him?
Penix not Penix at 11. I think Newton. Either Newton, Cooper DeJean, or Mitchell out of Toledo. Yes, out of Illinois. The D-line from Illinois.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll see it, but Mitchell's my top cornerback, but I'm sure we'll get to that probably shortly.
We need defense. Defense is what matters the most, and I think we can get by with Sam Darnold at the moment if we need to, because if we get Penix or Bo Nix, I'm okay.
Ew,
I really am.
You'd be okay with Bo Nix and not JJ?
In the second round, yeah.
That's the thing.
I don't think
Bo
anyone
Nix
would
did
do
more
that.
with less. Bo Nix
Bo
did
Nix
more with
didn't
less.
do
for
that
anything.
second
Bo
first
Nix
round
is-
pick for a reason, though.
Bo Nix is 30 years old, man. Okay, here's my just overall quarterback take. This isn't Viking specific. If you're not quarterback is obviously the most important position in the league. So if you're not in love with the guy enough to take him with your highest first round pick, there is no point in drafting quarterback, in my opinion, unless you're drafting for a backup spot. There's just no point in doing it unless you're really tied to throwing the dart at the dartboard. If you don't think he's going to be a game changer at the most important position in football, there's no point in drafting him at all. That's just my personal opinion. I'm sure others.
Do the stats not back it up that Mahomes is the only first round quarterback to win a Super Bowl in the past 30 years? Or not 30, 15 or 20?
Probably not. Ben won one within the past 15 years.
Stafford.
I'm trying to think of what the stat was.
He's the only quarterback drafted since 2016 that has won a Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but
that's a tough stat because they're all Tom Brady.
Yeah, it's just Tom Brady.
Tom Brady and Mahomes. So it's just one of those stupid stats.
Or Nick Foles.
I'm okay with Penix. I think he'd be fantastic on that. With his play action, he was number one in play action. I was not crapping on that dude.
Yes, you were. I was trying to hype him up as being a good prospect, and you were saying he sucked for years and he had one good season at Washington.
This is true. I do remember this conversation.
You did. You were adamant about this. Because I like Penix as a player, too. I think he's got talent.
I think Penix
I think he withered. I think he withered on the biggest stage, which was not a good thing. But
if they would have lost Texas, he'd be a top 10 player.
It is crazy how it kind of reminds me of Justin Fields in a way, where Justin Fields plays against Clemson, has a phenomenal game, and it was a split second. That week between the Clemson game and the Alabama game, Justin Fields was almost penciled in as a Jets pick at number 2 overall. Prior to that, I saw a lot of Zach Wilson. I saw a lot of Zach Wilson before the Clemson game. And then after the Clemson game, I started seeing Justin Fields again. And then after the national championship game is when the field stock started to kind of die off a little bit. I see that with Penix as well, where his stock was sky high after that Texas game, and then he just doesn't really show much of anything.
He forgot how to play football against Michigan in the national championship. Literally just completely forgot how to throw the ball.
That's also,
it was wild.
Yeah. I think that's a good transition, though, because that puts you on the clock at 12 with the Broncos, Cam.
I really think it'd be a trade-out situation. I really don't know what to do here, but since I have to pick, looking at everybody that is available, I'll probably go with the tackle out of Penn State, Olu Fashanu.
He's one of my favorite tackles.
Just get a good offensive lineman. I don't think you're going to be in a great spot to get a good quarterback anyways, unless you're probably trading up. They're talking about getting rid of or packaging Surtain, and Minnesota fans are saying at the moment, if you are willing to give up 2 firsts and Surtain, go ahead. I agree with Minnesota. I would not give up more than that for one of these quarterbacks. I'm a big fan of Ewers next year. I really am. I will say it.
So one thing I'm wondering is because who do the Broncos have at quarterback?
Nobody.
That's my concern. Is are they going to feel obligated to take a Penix or a Bo Nix just because they have nobody else on the roster?
They love Bo Nix. I feel like they love Bo Nix. But again, this is one where they would probably trade down at 12 and then just take him later in the first round or something. Because no one else is taking Bo Nix here. No one else with a brain.
Well,
or it's going to be a Desmond Ridder situation where people mock Bo Nix in the first, and then the Broncos just end up taking Bo Nix in the third, and they're fine with it.
Yeah.
So that's probably what'll happen.
I agree with that. So I like Fashanu.
Okay, that puts me on. I think we're going to start a little bit of a run here. Raiders, they have a lot of needs listed. But I see one of them there. They're not taking a QB. They're not taking a running back. I immediately jump to offensive line, and I'm going to take Fuaga out of Oregon State. I was kind of between that and a cornerback, but I just think this is another team like the Broncos where you're not really in a position to take a quarterback high. You're going to run it back with Aiden O'Connell probably, so you get something to protect him, and kind of build a little bit of a wall in front of him, and you see what happens. So that's all I got on the Raiders.
I like that pick. The Raiders' offensive line is always terrible, it seems like. At least not very good. They always miss on their picks, so I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders take just someone completely out of left field. But we'll see. I usually like giving them Quinyon Mitchell, especially with Pierce being a defensive guy. At least their defense last year was pretty good, especially in the second half of the season. So sometimes it's better to just keep the strength, make it even better. But definitely can't go wrong with going tackle.
I think the one thing with Fuaga, too, is he's not just a tackle. He's a guy that, from the guys that I've been reading, seem comfortable with him starting at guard. So if you draft him, you can it's one of those guys that you can draft and figure out where he plays later.
He's wherever he's needed. He'll be able to plug in. Yeah.
That's pretty good for an offensive line. And he might be at guard for a couple of years and then get pushed out to tackle or whatever they need. But that's a good offensive line. Who's up next? Saints.
Drew on the Saints.
The Saints. Who do I normally give them here? Oh, I know who I'm going to give them. I know who I'm going to get them. They are in need of a tackle. Ramczyk could be out for the season with an injury that appeared to be worse than what was originally expected. Some people even say that he might retire from it. So,
really,
they need tackle. They drafted some other bum that I hated a few years back. I forget what his name was.
He was the
one that
yeah. He was the one that would toss people into his quarterback's legs. Anyways, he didn't turn out to be anything. So who are we going to give him? We got Fatanu I think that's how you pronounce that. We got Latham. I know some people like Latham. We're going to go ahead and go Fatanu here. Like I said, they need a tackle. And with any of these tackle picks, it's more so the position is what I'm predicting than the exact tackle, because teams will like certain tackles for different reasons, whether it's size or speed or a mix or whatever. So I think the pick is going to be tackle for the Saints, whether it's Fatanu or whether it's someone else, depending on how the board falls. That is left to be seen. But with a lot of these guys, you probably can't go wrong, at least for now. Obviously, some of them will pan out, some of them won't. But like I said, tackle is a dire need for the Saints at this moment.
I like
Seems
it.
like you said with the Raiders, it just seems like every year they're kind of in that offensive line market. All right, I think I'm up next with the Colts,
You are.
and their needs are wide receiver, defensive back. I don't really know if I like I could go a Brian Thomas Jr. here. I could go a Mitchell here, but I'm really glad this dude fell, because I clearly, I point to it a lot. University of Toledo alum. I have to go Quinyon Mitchell here. I have to go with my boy out of Toledo. The
Feels
first
like a good
Toledo,
fit.
and it does seem like a good. I think it's a good fit. They need DBs, and especially now that the Texans just traded for Stephon Diggs, you need a little bit more help there to stop that Texans offense. Like, you kind of have to draft for that. But for Quinyon Mitchell to go in the first round, first Toledo Rocket to be drafted in the first round since 1993, it was early 90s, so he's going to be a
It's a
damn
long
good
time.
football player. Damn good football player. And wherever he gets drafted, I'm buying that dude's jersey, because it's cool for me, being a Toledo fan, Toledo alum, to see a guy get drafted this high. So, Quinyon Mitchell, Colts, 15th overall.
The Colts always seem like a Cooper DeJean team to me for some reason. They just I could see
They
him
got
going
like
Cooper
Kenny Moore.
DeJean,
They're cool with that,
but Quinyon is
Lunchpail kind of
definitely
guys.
the better. Definitely the better pick. I think who's their owner? What's his name?
Oh,
Jim
Irsay?
Irsay?
Jim Irsay?
Yeah,
Irsay?
he seems like he'd be a DeJean fan, but that's just my 2 cents.
Quinyon,
Kind of
to
a
put my
weird guy.
bias aside,
Very weird guy.
definitely
Really
a weird
wanted
guy.
to save that whale.
Good for him for trying.
Takate?
And to
What?
put my bias aside, I do genuinely think that Quinyon Mitchell is the best corner in this class. He's got length, and he put himself on the map against Notre Dame, but he's a ball hawk as well. And say what you want about the MAC conference, good players do still come out of the MAC, and for the last 2 years, he's been the best defensive player in the MAC. So
I mean, Khalil Mack came out of the Mac.
he did.
Good one.
Khalil Mack,
Mac.
Ben
With that
Roethlisberger.
I
Daniel
think
Brown.
that's a good transition. Cam on the clock with the Seattle Seahawks.
The Seattle Seahawks are going to be weird this year. I think the safe pick here would be Byron Murphy. It seems like it's kind of their guy. Get a little bit stronger on the interior of your defense. You have a good team overall. Your secondary's nice. Kind of build off of Sam Howell. See what he can do. Rebuild year. That's all you can do about this.
Is that your pick, Byron Murphy?
Yes.
All right.
I like giving the Seahawks defensive linemen. Feels like they've never really had at least haven't had in a while a good defensive line. And they've got
They
good
always
DBs.
they always have linebackers. They always got DBs, but their defensive line's never been there.
I mean, they had Michael Bennett, and that's Cliff
Yeah,
Averill.
he
Yeah.
still felt like a secondary piece, and he had a helmet that didn't fit his head. It always annoyed me.
He had
His shoulder pads.
didn't even wear shoulder pads.
Yeah, they were like the
Looked shoulder
tiniest
pads.
thing.
Yeah.
A lot of anger issues, too.
Yeah.
Him and his brother.
I think the Seahawks could be if he falls, a Michael Penix spot. I think that would make sense if he does fall there in the first round. One, their offensive coordinator was Penix's offensive coordinator last year at Washington, and it would give him a chance to sit behind Geno Smith for a year or two. You have DK, you have, I don't know how many more years you have Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, so that could be a spot as well for, if they were to go quarterback, I could see Penix there, but defensive line does seem to be a good fit with the new head coach and Mike McDonald. I think it's McDonald, something like that.
McDonald, yeah.
McDonald.
All right, I think that's to me and the Jaguars. Interesting spot here. You know, I see offensive line, I see edge. There's still a couple tackles on the board. There's some DBs here as well, which seems like another need. I could see this going a couple different ways. I think right now I'm stuck between two players, Terrion Arnold and Jared Verse. I'm not going to say I know a ton about Jared Verse, but I don't think they're going to go edge, being that they just went edge not that long ago with the number 1 pick. And
He's a bust, so.
Is he though? I don't know. Do we ever really hear about the Jaguars? They're just kind of a boring franchise, it seems. So regardless, I think I'm going to go Terrion Arnold there. Just a DB to add to their overall mix there, add to the defense that I think they need some help on. So Terrion Arnold, good corner, has the ability to potentially be shut down for them, and we'll move on.
I don't have too much to add for that. Freaking Jags, man. They're just, I don't know. They're not good, but their weaknesses aren't as obvious. Like, is it offensive line? Is it,
they're just kind
could
of,
it even be receiver?
Yeah,
Is it,
they're just
could
average.
it be quarterback? Could be
below
quarterback.
average to average in a lot of spots. So
Could be quarterback.
It might be.
You never know. So
You're up,
with
Drew.
the Bengals on the clock,
Yeah.
I think there's a couple options here. Obviously, the best player available, according to PFF, is Jerzon Newton. But I think it's time to get Joe Burrow a guy at tackle. We're gonna go J.C. Latham, especially coming off 2 pretty big injuries. You got to try to keep him healthy. We see what happens when he's off the field. So whether you're right, Dylan, and he's permanently damaged from his most recent injury, we'll see. But you got to at least try to keep him on the field. So give him a tackle. Your offense is already fantastic. You're losing Higgins and Boyd, unfortunately, but they could still re-sign Boyd. We'll see. But Higgins to me was always kind of a hit or miss. Is basically the best way to describe him. He was
always
going off
a good
or
number
just
2,
a
but
non-factor.
then he was always like one of the best number 2s in the league. But then he would go through stretches where he didn't do anything, and there was times when Jamar Chase was injured, and he was just okay. So very up and down.
But you got to keep Joe Burrow protected. So we're gonna go Latham, and it's not like there's any other receivers or tight ends or anything like that. And their defense is solid. It's not the best. It's not the worst. So
this could be a Brian Thomas Jr. spot or an AD Mitchell spot potentially, like as at a reach. It would be a reach, but
yeah,
you could see it.
Yeah. And, maybe T. Higgins, like I mentioned the A.J. Brown trade earlier, where A.J. Brown, that trade happened in the middle of the first round. Maybe T. Higgins is traded in the middle of the first round, and then they draft one of those guys like Brian Thomas Jr. or Mitchell, either here or wherever they reach that first round draft pick.
Is T. Higgins tagged?
I think he is.
Yes. He's a tag and trade candidate as well.
Yeah, he does feel like a draft night trade potential. It definitely has got that vibe to it because there's really been not a lot of rumors swirling.
Him and
recently.
Brandon Ayuk, I would watch out for. Brandon Ayuk is another one.
Yeah, I think that was smoke screen, like leverage type deal to get a deal done. I think they're keeping him, but that's
Maybe
just me.
smart to keep him, but you never know. Definitely never know.
Anyways, Rams, Gil?
Rams, they got a lot of needs. If they're going to make it back to the playoffs, PFF has quarterback because you don't know how many more years Stafford's going to play tackle, defensive line, linebacker, corner. Like, they need defense. So let's go defense here. And the top three the top three players that we have on the board, we have Jerzon Newton, Cooper Dijon, and Jared Verse.
Dijon Mustard.
I think, you have to replace the greatest defensive player of our
You're a
generation.
commie.
You just call me a commie?
It makes sense, though. It does. It does. I see where you're going with
They need a
it.
corner.
Him.
They
They could probably
did,
take
though.
corner later. They could probably
Who'd
take
they
a corner
replace him
later.
with? Who'd they
I don't
replace
know.
him with?
What's his face? Kobe Mitchell or something?
Nah.
He
You go
there was
best
a
player.
guy.
They drafted him last year, didn't they?
Yeah, he was a defensive rookie of the year. He's a defensive rookie of the year candidate. I do know
I
that.
don't know.
You need more than one. You need more than one
You
defensive
need more than
lineman.
one. You have to put. I think that defense is going to want to put pressure on the quarterback. That starts up front. And again, like I said, you got to try to replace the greatest defensive player of our generation. Newton's a pick here for the Rams as they try rebuilding that front four, or that front seven, I should say.
I like it. I tend to agree. Especially, I've seen Newton falling. He's rated a top 10 prospect according to PFF, but I see him fall quite often in mocks.
Just a
Not
lack
sure
of
why.
need for defensive linemen, like the interior
Defensive linemen, especially interior defensive linemen,
It's not a high value
in the first
either, no.
round when
Yeah,
there's plenty of first round tackles and quarterbacks, wide receivers, corners, even.
It's like Elijah Cansey last year. He was a very good rated, nose tackle, and he fell to like 25 or something. He was best D lineman in the draft potentially in the interior, and that's just where they go. Center and nose tackle type deals.
Cam tried having Cansey drafted to the line like top 10 last year, so we tried here at Party Chat Sports to get that drafted high.
And that would have been a good pick. Maybe they win the NFC Championship. Who knows? All right, Cam.
All right. Speaking of Cam and his lovely picks, who do you got the Steelers taking?
Oh, you got Russell Wilson,
Punter.
the quarterback, so you're really going to need a good generational punter here. Tory Taylor out of Iowa. Man, this guy can really punt
At
the
least
ball.
he doesn't have to change colors.
Dude, you're gonna
Just keep
love
the uniform. Just keep the
Dylan,
uniform.
you're gonna love that. Okay, see now here's a perfect pitch for you.
We
actually.
just
your defense is
No,
fantastic,
no,
and so what we're gonna do is we're gonna pin you inside the 5 each time.
No.
Safeties galore.
No. We just signed an Ohio State punter to 2 years, $6 million. We're not drafting a punter.
This is true.
It's true. I forgot about that.
It's true.
Cam, that's a good plan, though. It makes sense to me.
You really need a wide
You
receiver.
know who they're
here.
picking right here. You know who it is.
You really need a wide receiver right here. He showed out at the NFL Combine. He showed out on his pro day. Dylan, Georgia guy, Lad McConkey.
They're not taking
McConkey.
No, I don't take you. I'm not taking you seriously.
Drew,
You already
put it
passed
in.
him.
Lock it in.
You already
Like
passed
that?
him. No,
Here,
No.
we'll go wide receiver. Oh,
they're not
here he
taking
is.
that. This is just ruining the whole mock because
It's
you
a
decided
Georgia guy.
No, they're not taking him. You're ruining our mock.
Dylan, how many
You're
guys are
ruining
just gonna?
it.
How many people are gonna
You're
come out of
ruining
nowhere?
it.
Lock it in.
He's gonna be one of those guys. Promise.
There he goes. He's picked.
He's your lunch
Lad
pail kind of guy.
McConkey,
I'll
you're a
leave.
Steeler.
Amarius Mims is a Steeler. That's who I'm drafting on my PFF board.
No, you're not. Do not mess it up, Dylan.
I already did. So you
It's not
messed
messed
it up
up.
because you
That's
wanted to
crazy.
be funny instead of be
I'm
real.
not trying to be funny. I am being real.
They're not taking
He'll be
Lad
great
McConkey.
next to George
At 20.
Pickens.
He actually would be, but not at 20.
Cam, I love the pick. Good pick, Cam.
Thank you.
Dylan, you're up. The Dolphins.
It's one answer for this.
Jared Verse, pick over.
What?
Okay.
Oh, Donis Mitchell?
To the Dolphins.
Or not Donis
Who?
Mitchell, Xavier Worthy.
Oh. Maybe in the second.
They do need defense. The Dolphins lost a lot of players, and they're definitely going to need
Especially,
defense.
what's his weight? Christian Wilkins.
Christian Wilson, yeah.
That's a big one.
All right.
Should have drafted Roman Wilson or Blake Corum.
Jerzon
Since
Newton might be a
since we're
good.
just doing
a
stupid
good,
shit.
Jerzon Newton might be a good pick for them if he's still there.
Yeah, because you didn't use any brain cells.
Oh, no way. I get to pick the Eagles, too?
Yeah, you do. Congrats.
Oh, yeah. Cooper DeJean, baby. He's an Eagle. You got to pair him with...
So our
freaking
mock
Blankenship.
draft has just turned into a
Blankenship.
hate. Our mock draft has just turned into a hater draft.
I
Seems.
just drafted the 9th-ranked player.
I think he's overrated, personally.
I think so, too, but
think you're upset.
that's not my problem. Like I already said, I pray on the downfall for all of the NFC East teams other than the Cowboys. But being serious, the Eagles, while they don't technically have a need at corner, they have a need at corner. And DeJean, who is technically a corner, people are trying to make him a safety for obvious reasons. If he can do both, that would be great because Slay's getting older and, is not as good as he used to be. What's his face is a complete liability on the other side. Bradbury.
Yes.
That's CD's son. As much as you don't want to admit that you have a need there, you have a need there. And at this position, they don't need tackle. Maybe they want to go center, but they drafted a guy not too long ago that's been sitting behind Kelsey that will probably be able to fill in for now. They really need linebacker, but I don't know if I like Peyton Wilson enough. I wouldn't be surprised if they took a linebacker like Peyton Wilson because he is a freak athlete, and Eagles love to draft some freak athletes on their defense. So, but like I said,
there's no
good
players here.
There's no Amarius Mims, but they don't need him. So
he's already taken.
He's
maybe
not
they're going
taken.
with Kamari
Yes.
Lassiter, but
Kamari Lassiter actually will probably go in the first round.
they're going with
is what I've been
DeJean
seeing.
in my perfect world.
Gil O'Neal's getting old. Mims will be a very nice tackle.
I was just about to ask.
I think they should take Bo Nix here because you don't know if they got it right the first time. So
The Vikings.
Cam, what are you guys' top needs? You said
It
looks like-
defensive line. Corners
well, that's
probably.
Nate Wiggins, I think, would be a really
And
good fit in the
offensive
Vikings
line.
uniform.
Nate Wiggins is
That is
not
who I
going to
put there.
touch grass
Mine.
anywhere
Nate
near
Wiggins,
Minnesota in a Minnesota
I
jersey.
think Nate Wiggins would really make a lot of sense here.
He's locked in.
Yeah, good pick.
Whoa! I didn't make the pick.
No.
Oh man!
I didn't make it.
Why are we acting like the pick was made then?
We
Why did
weren't.
it do that?
Dang.
Gil
That's
did not
crazy.
say
That's
Nate
crazy.
Look what
Wiggins.
happens when you mess around. Look what
That's
happens.
crazy. All right, everyone
All
ignore
right,
that
well,
pick. Nate
nope.
Wiggins sitting here. No,
Looks
go
like
ahead,
Nate-
Gil.
Nate Wiggins.
No,
is the pick again.
no.
Oh,
We're
no.
not doing that. No, because
Let's take
so
it
you
easy.
have to cheat and fabricate for your
Womp,
picks.
womp. Yeah, you're going to sit there and take it just like I did.
So I probably would have gone Amarius Mims here, but Nate Wiggins is It looks like Nate Wiggins is a pick. That it was decided
Yeah,
by
That's my
other
bad, Gil.
people that are higher
That's my bad,
than
Gil.
me. So
almost like it was fate. Almost
I'll
like it was
forfeit my
fate.
next pick to you, Gil. That's my bad.
nah, it's all good.
Cam,
All right.
you're up.
Cam's on the
Cowboys.
clock with the Cowboys. We've completely
okay.
devolved.
All right.
We've completely devolved. No one's taking us seriously anymore.
All right.
You know who they're picking here,
I
but
attempted to be serious, and then you guys made the pick for me.
That's my bad.
Just putting that one out there.
the,
I lost.
DB is a need for the Vikings. He said it himself.
Yeah,
Well,
not
they
that,
haven't-
DB.
They've
We
draft-
don't need a speedster. We need a big corner.
Well, they haven't signed anybody, so just about
Who are the
anybody.
I
Cowboys?
would have even
Who are the
taken Fab
Cowboys
Robinson.
picking?
Cowboys are going Keon Coleman, That's who we're going to get. We're going to
Actually,
reach.
I don't hate that. I love Keon Coleman.
Keon Coleman.
Just doing stupid shit.
I think Keon Coleman is.
I was having a good time
In
in the
the
first half of this.
At 24.
He's 55th ranked.
Yeah, with Brian
Over
Thomas
A.D.
on the
Mitchell.
board, A.D. Mitchell.
Xavier Worthy.
Here's the thing with Keon Coleman. I think had Jordan Travis not gotten hurt, Keon Coleman would not be thought of so low.
This
Like,
is
I'm
what
a big-
happens.
I'm a big
Next
fan.
year, we're all drafting for our own teams. I've just decided.
I tried.
We'll
'cause
forget.
I
we've ruined-
warned you, Dylan.
Keon
I
Coleman
warned
is your
you
real
yesterday what would happen if J.J. McCarthy went to the Vikings.
Yeah, listen.
That's
you're-
realistic, though.
Yeah, it's
No,
realistic.
It's
You
not.
just get
It's
your
not
little
happening.
feelings
It's
hurt.
not
As much as
happening.
you don't
they
want
don't
it to
want
be,
JJ.
it is.
It's not
You
going to
get
happen.
You get your little feelings hurt, and then you got to take it out on other people.
I didn't get my little feelings hurt.
And you
Is the
ruin
pick
the.
Keon Coleman
I
or
thought
not?
I was doing something nice by giving you a Georgia guy. Sue me.
Is the
No,
pick
you're
Keon
not.
Coleman or
It's
not?
You're full
Womp
of
womp.
crap. You're full of crap.
Is the
I
pick
already
Keon
want
Coleman
you
or not?
first.
Please tell me it's not. Be for real.
It's
We
not.
got no tackle, man. Come on now. We got no center. We have no
I'm sorry.
center,
Who
no
did you
tackle.
draft to the Vikings on accident because you listened to someone who didn't pick?
A DB that you
Keon
need.
Coleman is going straight to your fourth string on the depth chart. Goodbye.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
That puts me on the board with the Packers. This is all messed up now. I got to
I'm glad I
scroll
got a
down
good
and
pick.
draft Keon.
I appreciate that one.
Yeah. We got you real players before things hit the fan. Packers have O-line need because of course they do. Why don't you just draft him Amarius Mims in this scenario? Because Amarius Mims is actually a Steeler, but and for this one, we'll give him Amarius Mims on that board. If it's my board that I'm keeping track of, I think that might be a good spot for Graham Barton because I think he'd be the only lineman, the only top lineman on the board at that point because I also think the Cowboys would go Jackson Powers-Johnson in this scenario or Graham Barton. I think the Cowboys and the Packers take those two linemen in whatever order that they actually go. So
There's some people that like Guyton from Oklahoma, but I'm not one
Yeah.
of those people.
yeah.
But some people do.
All right.
Bucks, Buccaneers.
Gil, you go ahead and make this pick.
Let's see. Todd Bowles likes defensive backs. Big defensive back guy. They have a need there. Let's just give him Kool-Aid McKinstry.
I'm down with it.
Who's next?
The Cardinals are
Gil's
back on
up
the
again.
clock, and yeah, Gil gets another one.
Drew, what are your thoughts here?
They want DB,
They want DB.
specifically corner, but with most of the corners being
Yeah, the
gone.
corners. The next best
Could be
corner
a-
is TJ Tampa out of Iowa State.
Could be a Kamari Lassiter spot.
Or Sandstro.
Mike Sanders
He's pretty
still.
high on people's words, too.
I don't think
I mean, they
Sanders
could
still will
use
go in
a-
the first simply
think
because
he
he's a
does.
slot and it's
Yeah.
a positional value thing.
With Graham Barton and Powers Johnson still here,
Do they go?
Oh yeah,
O-line
I'm pretending that Powers Johnson is gone.
Yeah.
but-
Okay, let's give him Powers Johnson then.
because he can play center. But some people are saying he could even play guard if he needed to. But
probably.
same thing with Barton, obviously. He's listed as a tackle, but he could
Yeah,
play most
yeah.
likely center or guard.
I thought you guys had sent like Graham Barton as even a center candidate.
Graham Barton is a center. He's been doing all of his workouts as a center, even though he's listed at tackle due to his
So he can
size.
play all five positions.
I don't. People are really saying he's not going to be an NFL tackle. He doesn't have the foot speed type deal, etc. He's been doing all things center. So I really think he's going to be interior O-line in the NFL.
Bills.
Came
Bills
here on
on.
the clock with the Bills. The Bills.
Well, the Bills, you can't really go wrong with anywhere you pick. You've lost all your cornerstones. You were you're kind of in a very small rebuild here with a franchise quarterback. I think you need to get Josh Allen a weapon, and I think you're going to go Brian Thomas here.
Good pick, Cam. Good pick, actually.
I think that's the dream scenario for them, is that Brian Thomas Jr. falls. I think that's what they're really hoping for. That or they trade up.
Remember what we were saying earlier about those 2 first-round LSU wide receivers?
I like A.D. Mitchell, but Brian Thomas is a good pick. A lot of people have been thinking, does someone want to move up to one of these spots at, 27, 26, even the Cowboys at 24 to jump over the Bills, who obviously are going to be picking a wide receiver? Is there another team somewhere that likes one of these receivers that wants to jump in front of them? So I wouldn't be surprised if we see some action here and someone move up to get their guy in front of the Bills, because they're very clearly drafting a receiver. I mean, if they don't, it's Curtis Samuel and Khalil Shakur.
Yeah.
So not a great set of weapons there for Josh Allen. So like the wide receiver pick, a lot of people love Brian Thomas. I can't say that I am familiar with his game, but
He's a height, weight, speed guy. That's really his thing
is he
right now.
is he a Gabe Davis replacement?
Maybe. All right.
When it comes to movement, like, I know a lot of talk and a lot of hype gets put like trading up into the top 10, but it just seems like from recent memory, there's a lot more movement and trades here in the back end of the draft, kind of like in this part here.
Because you can get a lot of value from trading out of the first round, especially here at the end, because if you drop back into the second and there's not a player here that you think is worthy of a first round pick, you can get some pretty good value from another team who thinks they need to move up for a guy in the first. So you're not losing out too much on value players, but you can gain a lot if someone else thinks that their guy is still on the board. So,
Mm-hmm.
and especially too, like people trying to trade back up and jump someone who knows, like the Bills, you pretty much know what they're going to do. So if you want a wide receiver that's left, if you're sold on one guy and not the others, then you need to jump to get your guy.
Like if you're Kansas City,
and the Cardinals would probably be fine with moving back too, because they've already taken in this scenario Marv at number 4, so they don't need any one of those wide receivers. They'll gladly jump back 6 spots and grab whatever it is that the package is going to be, a day 2 pick or whatever it ends up being. So,
yeah,
I could definitely see the Chiefs moving up there with the Cardinals to jump the Bills.
Yeah, that's what some people were saying, and I could see that too, especially if, Rasheed is suspended.
That's definitely something to keep an eye
but,
on. Like,
on its own, if Rasheed for whatever reason is not suspended, Rasheed Rice and Hollywood Brown is not terrible, to where I think that they might just sit at where they're at and take whatever comes to them. But if they feel like they need another one because they're scared about what's going to happen to Rice, or just to get Mahomes some weapons, because they won the Super Bowl with Rasheed Rice being their number 1 receiver. Like, they could do some serious damage if they get him some more, guys to throw to, who I don't know how much more damage they can do other than winning the Super Bowl. I mean, they already did maximum damage, but they're going to do super maximum damage.
Doing it again.
But I don't know. Yeah. I've heard people say that they might move up. I could see them staying put. We'll see what happens.
Anyways, we each got 1 pick left, so I'm here with the Lions. I could see this going a lot of different directions. I see interior offensive linemen and edge and corner. I don't really think there's any edge prospects sitting on the board for them right now.
Chop Robinson's still there.
Chop Robinson is the 43rd ranked player on the board.
I think he's very underrated.
I could see someone reaching for him.
That's fine. I don't think
he seems like a Raiders guy, actually.
Right, he's a Raiders first round pick. He's going to get get pulled up there. But with Barton on the board, I'm thinking that's where they would likely to go, where he could fill that guard or center need for him and add to the kneecapping offensive line.
That's probably a good pick. They desperately need corner. If I
Yeah,
was making their needs list, that's probably what I would have as their number one need is corner.
Yeah. Their number one corner just got arrested.
yeah. So I mean, that's another spot where Lassiter might get pulled up into the first round because kind of looking at the corners, he's the top. Him and I guess TJ Tampa is listed on here are the top outside
Probably would
guys.
have been a good pick, Lassiter right there, actually.
Yeah, I could see that. So
I saw some brief highlights of Lassiter, and I'm sold on him. I'm sold on him.
Yeah, no, he's good.
I like
he's
him.
He's locked
Is
down.
that the guy
And,
at Miami or Mississippi State?
That is
No,
a Georgia
Georgia
player. He's locked down. He's got good ball skills too. That was kind of
Not
the one
afraid
thing.
to make a tackle.
Yeah, no,
That's what
big
you want to
tackle
see out of your
guy.
corner.
He's better than our last first rounder, Campbell. Campbell kind of had some he didn't want to tackle like Lassiter does, and his ball skills weren't as nice as Lassiter.
So with the Ravens up next, and with a lot of these picks, we've kind of been we've been drafting with the bad strategy. We've been drafting for need, which is what you want to. It's what you don't want to do. With that being said, the Ravens kind of dug themselves in a hole with their offensive line moves. That I think same kind of story with the Cowboys. That you dig yourself so far into a hole that you kind of have to draft for need. You take the best player available out of the equation, just because there's no other way to throw a Band-Aid on those positions. So with this, I'm gonna give him Tyler Guyton. I don't love Tyler Guyton. I would rather see it'd be interesting like an AD Mitchell here, or the Ravens love drafting defensive players
because they also are a team that may not have their top wide receiver anymore.
They're just
because Zay Flowers
the
punched
Ravens
a woman.
they've needed a wide receiver for a long time.
But they draft wide receivers a lot. They just keep missing.
They just haven't got one that can. I mean,
they drafted Zay
Flowers.
Flowers.
Looks pretty good. Bateman was supposed to be very good.
He was. Zay Flowers is good. He just Ravens players also like punching women. So
OBJ looked. He was promising in his Super Bowl appearance with the Rams.
They've always had a bunch of random old wide receivers too, like you're saying. OBJ, Des Bryant. They had an old Mike Wallace for a couple years. He was their leading receiver.
Bolden?
They did.
Bolden had 1 year?
They did. They just get these recycled dudes out of the trash right before they're about to retire.
Yeah. The year they won the Super Bowl, they had Bolden.
So like I said, the Ravens they need tackle, they need offensive line other than center. They need wide receiver. So I wouldn't be surprised if they go with like an AD Mitchell. But personally, if I had to choose which one was more important, I'm going with tackle. So that's my pick.
Go with the 49ers.
So 49ers need offensive line and corner. I don't really like any of the corners that are left here. I also don't really care for the offensive linemen that are left. They're kind of these are second-round players. You're definitely looking to trade back if you're the 49ers, maybe with a team that wants to jump back into the first round for Bo Nix. So you have that fifth-year option. That's kind of where maybe a team that wants to jump the cheese for Donnie Mitchell. But if we're staying here, obviously, and I'm just looking at the 49ers, I see corner. The best corner left is TJ Tampa. Let's just give them another Iowa State player because they like their Iowa State players. They've had a lot of success with Iowa State players. Instead of drafting one at the end of the draft, though, let's give them one at the end of the first round in TJ Tampa.
Cool.
They'll probably pick someone good, unfortunately. Well, they haven't been that great at drafting, to be honest.
Yeah, their first-round quarterback getting outplayed by their last-round quarterback. That's one miss. But
they lucked into that
pretty
one.
Major miss.
Their draft last year was pretty bad. going kicker in the third.
Yeah, they just signed a bunch of people. That's really what they did. They signed a bunch of dogs, added to the stars that they did have. So I don't know.
Let's see.
This definitely feels like a trade back spot, though, for sure.
Draft. Who they drafted last year? Oh, they didn't have a first or second round pick. Their first pick was in the third round is Jair Brown at safety, and then Jake Moody. Wow, that's ugly.
All right, Chiefs.
All right, bring us home, Cam.
Last pick.
You got to get a weapon here. Drew, you did not pick A.D. Mitchell, correct?
Correct.
No.
A.D. Mitchell's going to the
Keon
Chiefs
Coleman off the board instead.
Hey, don't be hating on
Chiefs.
Keon Coleman.
Chiefs.
Yeah,
I like
great
it.
pick.
Yeah, no, that's a great fit. If A.D. Mitchell is there for them, I think they're super happy with that. So
Him next to
wish we
maybe
had a-
Rasheed Rice.
yeah, I wish we had a grade.
That'd be nice.
Oh, I think it was solid and until about pick 20 to 24.
Got off the rails a little
started
bit.
falling off the rails. So a little, like Powers Johnson. Some people are saying he could fall.
A lot of people are saying that.
I could see that, but I don't think Mims, Powers Johnson, and Barton are not getting past the Steelers and the Cowboys, and that's a fact.
It's true.
Unfortunately, Tyler Guyton is a very Cowboys pick, and I'm very scared of that. Especially when you have guys like Barton and Powers Johnson that I think would be better. But
yeah,
and Mims if he manages to squeak by the Steelers for whatever reason. But
I'm putting
overall,
it on the record. If Ladd McConkey is picked at number 20, and it is the Steelers at number 20, you will not hear from me for a very long time, maybe ever. If you catch my drift. All right. Anyway, I'll be doing a full Steelers mock draft, kind of wants and needs video coming soon anyways, so stay tuned for that.
Yeah, we're definitely going to try getting more draft content out there. And yeah, we did kind of get off the rails a little bit, but that's how the NFL draft works anyways. Like
it will happen. It will happen in this draft.
Where
something will go crazy. Either a player's taken too soon, a player who we didn't even draft, a second round, graded guy like maybe a Chop Robinson or Xavier Worthy. Maybe if some teams like to reach, if they think they have a guy, they'll go get him. So this list will definitely get shaken up.
Xavier Worthy could pull a John Ross-esque draft performance and just go in the teens for whatever reason because he's fast. He's a fast man.
Yeah, and I mean, I know we didn't take Bone Nix. Was trying to look.
Penix didn't go either.
Yeah, so I think
Bo
at least
Nix
one of
feels like a Broncos trading back up to like 31.
Yeah,
feels realistic.
At least one of those two, if not both of those, end up in the first round. I think a lot of quarterbacks get taken in the first round just because the need for quarterback seems to be so large this year.
Or Bo Nix is the next Will Levis, and he's just taken on day 2.
That's definitely very likely as well. I could definitely see a scenario where that happens. But overall, I think we did a good job, especially for no trades. Yeah, there's some hiccups in there, but I think we did a good job, guys.
I do too.
We'll see. We could probably hit another before,
Yeah, I think so. Probably week of, right?
Some players will fall and rise by the time draft day rolls around.
And
so
maybe there's more trades that happen. Maybe there's more trades that happen before that.
I think we should shoot for a week of mock draft 2.0. Yep. Same deal on like a Tuesday or Wednesday and post it by Thursday morning of day 1.
Yeah, I think we can shoot for that. We can shoot for that. We're going to
try
try getting
draft tickets.
No,
I'm not getting a ticket. I'm just going.
Yeah.
So you can sit 5 miles away and look at the big canopy in the rain.
Be there and have fun.
Exactly. You don't need to buy tickets for that stuff. They're expensive too. To like,
oops.
We were giving them away at work. A little off topic, but we're giving them away at work. So we looked up like how much the tickets are, and they're pricey. Just to sit in the canopy, essentially. Like that's not
So you
worth
can
it.
see what's going on.
I've gone to Chicago, Nashville, Philly, 3. Just fine. Because the screen's
Oh.
big enough to where you can see it and hear everything.
Nice.
I might need to go to Mom's Spaghetti too while we're at it.
I'd have to.
Might have to. We'll figure out everything out later. We'll also, again, try figuring out more draft content to put out in the next 21 days after this gets put out. I'm excited. It's a fun time of year, especially because after draft season's over, then we really don't have much to look forward to for a month or so. So let's enjoy this. Let's embrace this. Hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. And let us know what you think of our picks. Let us know in the comments. Let us know on Twitter or X. DM us. I don't care how you reach out to us. Just let us know what you think of the picks, where we went wrong, where we went right, and what you might do in this scenario if there's no trade. But until next time, make sure you stay tuned to the feed. Follow us at Party Chat Sports on Twitter or X. Follow us on TikTok at more TikToks possibly brewing. Go make sure you go check out the ones that we already have up there. And also follow us on YouTube at Party Chat Sports and wherever you get your podcasts at Party Chat Sports. Until next time, have a great one.
Goodbye,
Go
brother.
Vikings and maybe Texans.
Peace.